Hello and welcome. Now, I don't really have much to say because I said already everything I wanted to say before. Um, the video I made before this. I'm sorry it took a bit until it was done. It was just it was a bit hard to find pictures. This was the biggest picture that I liked the most. Um, Now I'm gonna explain some of the plot, or I guess the lore uh, of this what if. Now, you could say that um, humans can become, or Greek mythology. I've searched a bit, and I found out that a bit of constellations are from Greek mythology. Um, Now, like, I'm gonna say that if you can, humans can become constellations, but it's very hard. Or no, you could, yeah, it's very hard, and you kind of, it's kind of a being, all which can continue to grow. Uh, Instead of gods who are set strength and set of like things, constellations are like they can continue to grow, and and even if some constellations are much powerful than other gods, they're neutral, so uh, don't feel they don't do anything about like the wars among gods or anything like that. They hold themselves back. The only thing that they do is kind of like um, they are basically the ones who give powers or quirks to humans. That's basically what constellations do. They give a small piece of their powers to a human, which basically are their incarnation, you could say. Um, Kind of like, I think it was a few others, novels, which I've read in. Um, Now, Deku, he gets, you could say, um, he's born before every, like, he's born in quirk time, but he didn't get a quirk, so he hadn't. And because there aren't people who doesn't have quirks, it's because um, constellations. There are too small of. There aren't enough constellations to uphold about, let's say, 9 billion people. Let's say there's about 9 billion people, or 10 billion actually. And 10 billion people in the world, and 20% can't doesn't have a constellation supporting them, like have given them a power. Um, because each constellation can only give two powers to each and every one. So there are about, I don't know about how many, um, at least half a billion, at least less than a 5 billion constellations, at least less than that, because yeah. Now, it's like I said, Deku didn't get a constellation, but um, the people who doesn't have a constellation supporting them, they're free from, you could say, their manipulation, because some of the villains, like the villain's quirk, that's from like the bit more um, malicious, or like the ones who give powers and manipulate them a bit, like the world, so that they can become villains. And so villains and heroes are basically entertainment for um, the constellations. A few of them, most of them doesn't, like the ones who give powers, normal powers. Basically, most of them doesn't interfere because they don't really care. They just help a bit. help them develop. But like I said, those who doesn't have quirks, they are basically a bit free, you could say, from their grasp. So um, um, so they can become constellations, you could say, because they don't doesn't have anyone. Then they don't have anyone watching them. If they are like, if they're around people who has quirks, they are being watched. But if they're all alone, they aren't being watched at all. So, of course, those who have weaker quirks, they have a that's the people who are second the power, because the first constellation, the first person that they pick uh, is a bit stronger than the second person they pick. So yeah. Now we go to when Deku is about it's basically 17 or 18, 16 to 17. Um, Now UA is a separate school from like the school system. It isn't a middle school, college, high school. It's isn't a university. You have to at least be 25 to go in to join UA, and so yeah. Um, but ugh. And in the where constellations live, which is called Abyss, and gods, they are in the abyss, but they're in a different part of the abyss. Abyss is the abyss where constellation of gods live. It's cut in half, you could say. The other, one of the half is from where most of the constellation live, and the other half is like where the gods, like Greek, Olympus, basically, which is called, um, or two different things, basically. Oh Jesus. Now Deku, he has been brutally bullied and beaten and everything else, but he trains very much. He tries to catch up, but he can't because of human limits. Um, Now he basically gets, you could say, hit by a special, or one day there from there's such a large, like, they're kind of like, you'd say, energy storms in the abyss. Olympus is fully safe from those because of the divine energy. But um, the abyss is doesn't have any divine energy or anything like that. So all of the energy storms are getting gathered up. So one day, an energy storm is too powerful and gets broken loose from the abyss and into the human world. But and this energy storm gets broken, and gets inside of, it's like starts in a neighborhood where Izuku lives, and he gets sucked into it. But because everyone and many people get sucked up into it, and buildings and everything. But because most people doesn't with quirks doesn't train very hard, they don't train their bodies very hard, so that because they rely on their quirk so much. But Deku, because he doesn't have a quirk, he trained his body and stimulated pain so that he would be, so that didn't need, and because he was beaten so much, he was kind of, you could say, numb to pain. I guess he still felt it if it's hard enough, but it was like a bit more. It was more tolerable pain tolerance, basically, and his skin hardened and everything like that. Now he gets sucked in the storm, and he survives miraculously. And because he survived, he all the lots of the energy gets sucked up into his body and basically breaks the limit of his human limits. The limit, like you could say, like there's a line from where the human limit is, like where you can't, if you train more, you just break your muscles. You can't get it stronger. You can't do anything anymore. That line broke, and there isn't a limit anymore. He can continuously train and get stronger and stronger and stronger forever. And then in the abyss, you could say in there a million like 1 billion years there is um, five, let's say 5 years in the human world. So it's moving very fast in the abyss, of course. um, or like 100 million years in the abyss is 5 years in the human world. Yeah. Or 1 year in the human world. Yeah. Let's say that. Now, because he was sucked in this storm, or this tornado, or something like that, he was sucked into the abyss, and because the abyss is full of like energy and everything else, his body naturally consumes a bit of the energy, very small of it. Every single living being which is in the abyss absorbs a bit of the energy in the abyss, a tiny bit, very slowly, but still it absorbs a bit. It's basically that's a thing. That's basically what makes constellations, what makes them grow stronger. That's how they can grow stronger. But because of divine energy, which drives away this energy, new energy, other energy, um, the gods, they don't get stronger. They stay at their strength because they don't suck in this energy, so they can continuously train or get stronger. So yeah, and everyone else who got sucked in got ripped apart like dust. Like every part of them got every atom ripped apart. They aren't they aren't existing anymore. They are isn't a single thing left apart from them. And of course, this after 10 minutes, the storm depletes, and all this energy which was in the storm gets sucked back into the abyss. A bit of it stayed in the human world, of course, but a big part of it got sucked back in. So there's a bit of the energy, but that ain't a big part of that. Isn't very important. Now, when Deku is passed out, he's all alone, passed out in the middle of nowhere. And when he wakes up, he sees like darkness everywhere. He sees a few stars, which what looks like stars, uh, and he sees everything is pitch black like the sky, but he can still see like the ground, everything. So it's weird for him because it's a new environment. He's scared. He's confused. He's panicked. He's of course scared. um, so yeah, now Deku he basically thinks that he needs to train because if he doesn't because that's basically what he's kind of obsessed, you could say, a bit. He trains and trains and trains in there. Let's say he trains for, and he goes around, wanders around as well. He trains his tolerance, everything, poison, acid, anything he can find. He trains, and after let's say 100,000 years, he is very strong, like very very strong, and he has gone towards he's going towards the Olympus, but it's still very far. Of course, it will take another. It will take about 400,000 years more until he reaches Olympus. But like I said, he trains on this way. And on his way, he has killed monsters, weird creatures which he found on the way. And those creatures helped him grow stronger, like his tolerance, everything. He grew stronger from them. He doesn't have a system or anything. That he doesn't have that. And also another thing before I continue. If you want me to make what if deck you had a system, like a kind of like solo leveling, um, other system. if you if you has had a system, if you want me to do that, I can make what if of that as well. Now, let's say we skip to a bit of 400,000 years in the future. Now, if you're wondering why he isn't dying of old age, it's basically he because of the energies he's absorbing from the monsters he kills, because he eats the monsters he kills because he needs food, and because of the energy around him that he continuously uh, absorbs, his body continues to grow like until it's about 25. Let's say he stopped at 25 because that was when he had enough energy. But of course, his body continuously growed slower and slower. Like the first year was like normal human year. He growed like a normal, but then 2 years, then which was his body growed 1 year, 4 years, his body growed 1 more year, and continuously up that until he was 25. Then it began to, or his body, um, the age of his body, the looks, and which basically began, which was 25. Everything, his aging began to slow down tremendously. You could say every million years, his body grows up, or about every 10 million years, he grows up 1 year. And it continuously to slow down every single year. Every single year, he grows up his body. So, yeah. Now, he is with about where he sees like this light, well, kind of this barrier, you could say, and he can't get through yet. So he wants to go through because he's wondering, he's curious of what that is. So at first he tries to punch it a bit and try punching it and kicking it and putting the energy he has gathered and into his punches and kicks and his body to strengthen him a bit. Nothing's working. So he continuously trains. He remains in the area of where the in the area of the protective shield. Yeah. But he continues to trains and trains. Now let's go to skip again 100 years in the future, 100,000 years in the future, and he punches with everything he got the shield, and a part of it where he is begins to crack. So he continuously punches and punches and punches everything he's got until there's a hole enough to make him go through. But then, 5 seconds later, it closes again. So he trains a bit more for about 1,000 years, and he again punches everything he's got, and it gets faster, and then he creates a bit bigger hole, and it slowly closes. Now it takes about 10 seconds before it fully closes. So now he's confident enough to go through. So that's what he does. He punches and punches until he gets it's big enough, and he goes through, and the shield closes. Now we go to basically every single god um, in what's it called? Every single god there, and demigod and everything, and they feel this kind of like um, weird. They feel this new presence that they haven't felt before, and the constellations they feel this the constellations that live there as well. There are a few constellations, very not many of them, but just a few, just like 10 or so. Um, Now, because of this, um, oh, uh, now everyone goes. Now everyone feels this new presence, like I said, and deku and they're wondering what this is. So they call everyone, or let's say, um, I think it's Zeus, which is the god of God, god of the gods, king of gods. Yes. Um, so he calls everyone, every god that it's basically available, and yeah, Guy was a part of Greek mythology. Okay. um, but yeah, like I said, Zeus calls this emergency meeting for all the gods, and basically they begin to discuss this new presence that they feel, and they send out what was his name? It was, I think it Hermes. It's him. Yeah, sure, Hermes. And he goes to war. He goes and checks it out, and he sees this person here, or yeah, this here. He sees this person with green hair and weird clothes, and that was his clothes. And if you're wondering why his clothes didn't decompose, it's because the energy. Yeah, that's basically it. But yeah, but he doesn't have the mask. Uh, he doesn't have that. But everything else he has. Now, like I said, he sees this person, and he's weirded out because no one has ever been and no, of course, a few of the other constellations has been able to get through, but this person looks like a human. His presence feel like a human, or a bit of it. Not much anymore. And if you're wondering about his memories, he has almost forgotten about everything back on Earth. He basically doesn't remember nearly at anything. Anything. But yeah, like I said, now Hermes, he's a bit too curious, you could say. So he goes and meets him. Now we're going to that conversation, which Hermes says, "Hello, who are you, and how did you end up here?" Well, I guess I punched a hole through the barrier or whatever what that is, the wall or whatever, and I got through. Yeah, that's it. But how? I don't know. Cause I'm strong enough. I don't know. Well, who are you then? Hmm. I don't fully remember my name. It's been so long that I forgot. Well, how old are you then? What are you? I don't remember. I don't remember what I am. I don't look anything like the other creatures out there. This seems like a peaceful place, and I wanted to take a break, I guess. So I came in here. That's basically why I came in here. But to what I am, I have no idea. Well then, how long have you lived? Hmm. Well, the farthest I can remember was 100 years ago. 100,000 years ago, I think. I'm not fully sure. Um, or maybe 200,000 years ago. Is the farthest I can remember as of right now. But then I was already. But the memory that the oldest memory I have right now is when I was fighting something. So I think I was longer than that. Hmm. I'm not fully sure. Hmm. Well, I think at least how my body is. I think I'm about 25 in the body, but the mind, I have no idea how long I've lived. At least maybe over 5,000 years, 500,000 years. I think. I'm not fully sure. It's a guess. It's a guess. So you lived outside of this barrier for over 500,000 years? Yeah, pretty sure. Pretty sure it's over 500,000 years. Not sure if it is 500,000 years. Maybe. I don't know. Ugh. Just giving me a headache. Uh. I guess. Have. Welcome. Shouldn't have. Should have maybe asked before. I guess you can follow me, and I'll take you to some place where we can maybe get some more answers. I've got a headache. But hey, you look like me. So am I the same as you? No. At least you don't feel like it. Feel like? What? What do you mean? Well, you have the same tint of human energy. Very, very, very little. Very much of a constellation. About like 99% or 98% or 98% constellation energy, I guess. So I guess you're in constellation. What's constellation? My God. Um. Right. When he basically begins to explain constellations and the abyss a bit, and then he thinks, "Oh, yeah, but do you know what those what's it called? I call them like I don't know why I call them, but they're tornadoes. Do you mean the energy tornadoes or storms? I guess so. I mean they were. I mean they were electrified, I think, and they were very strong. I think I came from one of them. What? Hmm. I don't know. I mean, wait. There was an incident about 600,000 years ago where there was a strong enough storm, energy storm, which broke out of the abyss and into the human world. Did he come from that? But how did he survive? Hmm. Weird. Um, but you did avoid them, right? I mean, no. They're faster transportation. Even though it stinged a bit at first. It hurt like hell first, but then it got better. I guess it's just tingly. I guess like a small prick. That's it. Yeah, it doesn't really feel much different. Okay then. Yeah, I'm just gonna bring you to the others. That's what he does. But I think I'm gonna end it here. If I hope you enjoyed this kind of thing. Um, I don't know um if you want me to. I had originally another thing planned, but this was the best. Like, I guess the most ideas I had for it. At least, oh, it was the best I could come up with. I had other two ideas that I could have done, which was basically he was born a god, a Greek god, one of the Greek gods, but then I had to find what he was god of, or if he was basically transferred from when he was a baby into the Greek or Olympus. But that would have kind of taken a concept from I don't fully remember what I don't remember what if it was. It was I think what if Hephaestus raised Deku. I think that was the what if name that concept is from, or which I was remember the concept was from. But I didn't feel like doing that because that's how I've seen most people, at least the ones I've watched. But yeah, I hope you like this kind of concept. And like I said, if you want me to do a system deku, uh, basically if you had basically kind of like a soul leveling system or another kind of system, or and what if deku was a constellation? And of course, I have put in constellations in this what if, but that would be a kind of a bit much different, a bit different. That what if the beginning would be like kind of like today's the first part here. It would be kind of the same. So I would just go brief it very fast from that. I'm not fully. I'm having. I don't have a fully a story from that, and also I don't fully have a story for this. What if as well? I just have a bit of it, but I'm not. I don't have a fully. In system, I have an idea, but I don't know if you want me to do it. That's why I'm waiting. But yeah, like I said, if you want me to do any one of those what ifs, say so in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below, and I'll see you tomorrow.